Before the break, that's okay.
I did want to ask Prime Minister, the second question I wanted to ask on that is it enough? One of the Bill C-70, obviously countering foreign interference, countering hostile activities of straight actors is an even broader term, but one of the criticisms we've heard is that the government has not done enough in this space and has not done enough to counter what is now a recognized threat. How would you respond to that?
Well, I think, first of all, I mean, I'd heard that criticism as well, or the frame that, well, since you had to, do C-70, obviously there was a mistake in the powers that CSIS or intelligence agencies didn't have before. You're correcting a mistake or an error or a shortcoming that existed before you corrected it. And I think that's the wrong way of looking at it. I think we are in a situation where the threats are constantly evolving, whether it's newer technologies, the advent of AI, the shifting and pervasive impact of social media in how people collect their news and understand the world around them, and the vulnerability to foreign interference and misinformation and disinformation that comes through that vector that wasn't the case even 10 years ago. The shifting geopolitics, where you have more assertive authoritarianisms, countries like Russia willing to invade a neighbor on the flimsiest of justifications, means that the world is changing in very real and dangerous ways that require us to step up. And at no point would I say that C-70 is enough and we can now sit back and coast on this for the next few decades because there will be no need to adjust and add more. That would simply be irresponsible. There is always going to be more work to do on ensuring that our agencies have the necessary tools to keep Canadians safe, while at the same time protecting the freedoms and rights of everyone in this country. And that is the constant, rigorous, responsible work that a government needs to do, to constantly be questioning, well, what more can we do to keep Canadians safe given these new threats, given these new challenges? How is the best way to do it while upholding the democratic and fundamental values and freedoms that is important to Canada? That's a constant debate in which not just the government, but stakeholders, communities, and even opposition parties have, and all parliamentarians have, an essential role to play in. It shouldn't be about partisan disagreements, whether, or a basis for partisan attacks when it comes to the question of protecting Canada's citizens, its institutions, and its sovereignty. And the kinds of debates we were able to have around C-70 and the kind of consensus that we had around getting it passed indicates that, to a certain extent at least, there is an understanding amongst parliamentarians that we shouldn't be politicizing or overly partisan in our approach on these issues of fundamental safety. We need to challenge, we need to make sure we're getting the balance right, and that different parties coming from different perspectives with substantive challenges to it is a really important piece of it. But my expectation is that there will pretty much always be, through the life of any parliament or over the coming decades, there will always be some sort of tweak or improvement or adjustment to our national security infrastructure that is being debated or looked at or legislated on or studied or reflected on an ongoing basis. Keeping Canadians safe is not a one-day job. It's a constant, regularly updated, foundational priority for every government every single day. And it'll come together in certain pieces of legislation, but there's always going to be more to do, and that is the work that government continues to do.